morning. It's 6 a.m. in Canyon City, Colorado. I am standing on top of the peak just adjacent to my property line, and I am witnessing a beautiful sunrise this morning. Late June. It's about 45, 43 degrees Fahrenheit today here in Colorado. That behind me is Delilah Peak, one of the local peaks in the area. Not very tall, but maybe 9,000 feet, something close to that. And you can see the beautiful mountains all around.
Delilah Ranch. Current heart rate 108 beats per minute.
My watch is telling me I'm not hiking, which I should be hiking. But I want to get a shot of the beautiful 360-degree panorama. If you look way out there, you might be able to see some snow-capped mountains. In terms of the view from this particular ridge, that's the only ones I see. But I know if I got to the top of this one, which is on BLM land, I would certainly be able to see some more. I'm going to save that hike for another day. Today's hike was all about getting to the top of this one. And down there, if you can see that, that is the entrance road to the ranch. And if you look really closely, right about there is my pickup truck parked alongside the road. And all down in here is the property, what I currently call Black Bear Canyon. It's known to have black bear and black-tailed deer, among other things. So I thought I'd let you join me today on the hike down. The hike up was rather difficult. As you can see, I'm standing on a rock bluff. So I got a nice rock bluff all around me. And I'm going to try to make it down a safe way. Because if I tried to go down this right here, it's pretty much straight down. But I'll get you a little bit closer look. You can appreciate it a little bit better. Look at those rocks right there. And look at that sun coming up. What a beautiful, beautiful view. You can see home sites scattered along this ridge line. One beautiful house up there. I might not be pointing directly at it, but up there in the sunlight, way over there, a home over here, homes down closer to the ranch road, home sites scattered all up on the hillside. All of these are 35-acre home sites scattered throughout the ranch. You can see a home site way back over there, right on top of the ridge on my property. So beautiful, beautiful view here. All right, so let's begin the hike down. I think where this fallen tree is still a little unsafe, so I'm going to head back up here where at least it's somewhat grassy downhill. You can see a little bit of grass. It's still quite steep, but at least grassy down there. Excuse me if this camera go sideways every now and then because I'm trying to look where I'm walking, not where the camera's facing. Also trying to keep up an eye out for any wildlife that might be aggressive. Like I said, there's black bear and deer, but there is also mountain lion. And frankly, if I'm going to be scared of one animal around here, I think it's going to be the mountain lion. I think the black bear, you're going to hear it coming. They are not the quietest animal, but those mountain lion, they hunt, and just like cats, they are quiet as a mouse until they get what they want. So I'm on a down slope right here that's basically walkable. Still steep. Trying to avoid hitting branches. Still steep, but walkable. And if I try to go a different direction than the way I came, maybe I'll find something new. Gotta be careful not to twist my ankle. A lot of big rocks and steep drops here. But it looks okay to go down. What I don't want is one of these rocks to start falling down on top of me. Ooh. So the property here is roughly 8,000 feet at the bottom. I think you can get to about 8,400 feet at the top. Look at that fallen tree right behind me. Look at this beautiful tree right behind me here. Isn't that beautiful? And you can see I'm already pretty far down from that rock bluff. So like I said, that rock bluff's not directly on my property, but it's adjacent on BLM land. And BLM land is public land, free access. There's certain restrictions on that property, but you can do quite a few things on it. Pretty much hiking is all I want to do on it. Sightseeing, hopefully wildlife viewing. I don't know if that gives you an indication of how steep it is, but the camera's level and the hill is nearly 45 degrees. Unless you see it straight up and down, it's hard to appreciate the slope. You can tell by the speed I'm walking, it's pretty steep. So if I had to guess, my property line is somewhere around this height on this slope. You can see some of my earlier videos from last year, last December, to get a decent tour of the main driveway and the basic building plan. But today's video is about exploring, checking out some stuff that I haven't been able to see yet. Oh, and I mentioned it's 45 degrees here this morning. Right now in Texas and Oklahoma, they're getting heat advisory warnings. Every day's over 100 degrees with humidity. There's no humidity here. You can basically run up this hill and not sweat, which is an incredible feeling after coming from central Texas. Here's some birds chirping. Heard an owl hooting when I first arrived on the property. He stopped pretty soon after I got here. Later this morning, I'm going to be going with the family, wife and in-laws, to see Royal Gorge Bridge, which is a short 30-minute drive from the ranch. Still walking straight down. As you can see, I'm all in the shade. The sun's on the other side of that ridge. I'm well within the property line at this moment. Now, much of this side of the property is not really suited for building, but what we wanted it for is space and distance from others, and hopefully the ability to have good amount of wildlife on the property. And anytime we want to go for a nature hike, we just walk out the door. I don't know if you can see that rock rolling down. Knocked a loose rock down, and I don't think it's going to stop till it gets to the bottom. Finally came to rest near a tree trunk. This is still steep, but very smooth. The walk down is whole lot easier than the walk up for some reason. Now we got the sun shining bright on the other side of our property. We own about halfway up this property, this ridge, I mean. So we're about halfway up the way we came, and halfway up the other side, and then all the way down to the road. And as you can see right there, here's our nearest property neighbor. Got a very nice home there. So as you can see, it's spread out. We are spread out here. This is a good mix of tall pine trees and what I think is called shrub oak. If it's not, I don't know what it is, but you can see all of this right here. I think that's shrub oak, but I'm not really sure. But mostly pine. Mostly pine. The walk down is getting quite a bit easier now. It's still steep, but not bad. Not bad at all. We have these really cool little plateaus, or whatever you want to call them, where you have lots of these kind of noses or humps on the property, where you have runoff on one side and then runoff on another side. So it makes these really cool rock humps. So far, I haven't seen any wildlife except for birds. You can hear the birds chirping. Ooh, just got a nice cold breeze. Nice cold breeze. So there's another view of the sun hitting the other side of the property. Tall bluff there. So basically, in my opinion, the property is divided into two sides with a water runoff down the middle. This property was originally purchased when it was subdivided in like 1997, 1998, and has been completely undeveloped since that time. Completely undeveloped. Nothing whatsoever done. Look at this beautiful meadow right here. Call it a meadow. But it's just got a couple trees right here. But otherwise, a nice grass base. I don't know what I would eventually do with it, but it looks awesome. All on my property, of course. I got this long tree, fallen tree right here. Let's go check that out. Big tree. Follow me. Let's see if you can follow behind me now. Nice big tree. Hope you're not getting dizzy following me. Look at this big rock. Look at that rock. I've got down in this runoff bottom, and you can feel the temperature drop. That cold air has settled right in this creek right here. Cold air is just hiding out until the sun finally takes it away. Now, as you can see, I'm walking back up slope. And I am standing at the edge of my home. Right here at the edge of my home. I don't know if you can see the home. It doesn't look like much of a home yet, but eventually it'll be a home. So this clearing right here is basically what I cut down last December. You can check out that other video about some of my chainsaw. You can see here, I'd flagged it, cut it down. That was a oak tree, just don't want anything to do with that here. Trying to keep the pine trees if I can. I cut down all this shrub when I was here in December. So over here, like I said, is kind of where the home would go. And if I can imagine, this would be a driveway that I'm walking on. Just walking on this driveway to where I'd like to have a barn. So just continuing on the drive. You can see some more trees that I cut down. Sorry about making you dizzy. You can see all those trees. There's quite a few oak trees right here that look like a giant bush, and I didn't want those. Chopped all those down, or sawed them all down. And then right here, kind of a gentle slope comparatively to the other parts, is where the barn would go. And the driveway starts around right here. Oh, look at this, look at this. Right behind me. That's where the hike started. Right there. The very tip top where there's a rock bluff is where I started. Let's see if I can get a photo. Let's see if I can get a photo. Okay. So one thing I haven't done is walk up this ridge, cut down all of these trees because I plan to make that part of my driveway. But up here is basically going to be nothing. It's a little bit of a hump. I think with the sun right over the ridge, it's going to be hard to see much. It's pretty thick in here, but stirred up some vultures maybe. There are 3 of them sitting on the ground and flew off as soon as I walked up. You can hear them. They're kind of angry at me. Leave us alone. You hear that? I don't know what those are. Kind of a squawk. Reminds me of a duck. My property line starts pretty far down the road in the direction that I'm walking. But it cuts at an angle, the property line does. So I'm on a steep incline right now. Steep.
Exercise room closed.
My watch says I'm completed all the exercise I need to do for the day. I'm walking up on a clearing. I can't help but get up here and see what the view's like. First time I've been on this spot. So you can see I'm far from the top, but it's somewhat of a clearing. You're getting the backwoods tour today. Let's just see if we can make our way down to the other property edge, walking back country. There's a nice rock feature right there, right behind me. You can see a road there. That is the ranch trash collection dumpster. And there's been several issues with the local bear population and the trash cans. We have a tall fence around the trash cans, but those bears have not let that stop them. They say the #1 way to prevent bears from tearing up trash is to put it away securely. Now, I don't have the property boundaries marked. I just kind of know where the corners are roughly. And I could be making up some of this in terms of what's mine and what's someone else's or public land, but it's close enough. I would like to think, man, that bird is angry. I'd like to be thinking I'm walking directly on the property line, but I really have no idea. I found my way into another runoff. That bird. I don't know if he's following me or I'm following him. But he keeps taking off every time I walk a little bit farther. I got a gentle slope here. I have no idea where I'm going to walk out of this forest, but I think I can see a clearing. And we'll find out where I ended up when I get to this clearing. There's another runoff. If that's the trash cans right there, I'm still well within my property line, because my property line goes farther past that. So I'm gonna try to aim for the corner. It's 6:30 now. I just got to be back at the campsite at 8:15. All right, I see my corner. You ready for the big unveil? Right there. Right there is my neighbor's driveway. And my property starts where his driveway starts. And I'm pretty sure the property line runs from that corner straight through me behind me straight to the other corner, which Kelly and I found last year when we were here. So I'm walking down in my property. At the bottom of the property, if you remember from other videos, is what we call an arroyo, dry creek bed, except for maybe flash floods. And the occasional rain runoff. All these runoffs that I've been pointing to make their way down here. Got a power line easement that runs across the line, the property here. So coming up in front of me is a really cool pasture slash clearing, again on my property. And there's the remnants of somebody's work. You can see these trees were cut down. I mean, probably because of the power line. Probably a tree in the way that was obstructing their construction. But there's the remnants of a road here. And I asked my neighbor about it. He's been here forever. And he doesn't know what it was for, but it was here before any of the subdivision. But I'm standing on this old Jeep road. Oh, and I've got some aspen trees. I was telling people there are no aspen trees on the property, but there is just a few right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a few over here. Those don't look so healthy, but they're alive. These are healthy, but just a few. There's one young one here, right here. Listen to those birds. So I got distracted, but this is the clearing I was talking about. This is pretty much completely separated from my main building plan. And it's separated because of the arroyo. Again, the arroyo's down here. Up there is the main drive. It's hard to see it, but it's up there 3/4 or 3/4 of the way up that slope. And it's a really steep bluff coming up to the road. Oh, that's better. I'm in the shade. So, see that arroyo there? Big ravine. Feel that cool air again in the shade. Feels good in the shade. So at some point, the original rancher had a road right here, and I'm walking on it. You can't really tell it's a road probably from the video, but You can see a bit of a cut here, like they flattened it out. And now there's trees that have grown up in the path. For example, this tree is right in the middle of what looks like it used to be a road. And it basically just drops into this arroyo. And I said it's a dry creek bed, but we have, oh, look at that hummingbird. You probably can't see it in the video, but there is a hummingbird where that waterfall is, and it was drinking some water. So we have these, what they call rising springs. I think that's what they call them here. And it starts right here. You don't see any water coming up, no bubbling or anything, but you can definitely tell it is recharged because there's nothing upstream. And it's got good flow because you can see that it's constantly pouring. So either this is the end of that road right here, or it continues on in this creek bottom. And you never know, this could have been the main road at one point. Could have just been a natural path cut through the forest before the main road was here, which obviously took a lot of construction. This very well could have just been the ranch road. Very rough, but probably doable. If I'm not imagining things, I see somewhat of an old rut that runs along the path of the road. And it goes straight through this gathering of trees. And it can only be assumed that these trees have grown up in the last 50 years. But this sure does look like the remnants of a road. That sun right over the edge of the horizon is blinding. Can't hardly look that way. So here we have a really beautiful pasture at the bottom of the creek bed. There's just 1,000 dandelions in here, all soaking up the moisture. I think these are cottonwood trees. We have an active cattle grazing permit, or whatever you want to call it, that allows cattle to graze through the ranch.
Split 2, 19 minutes, 13 seconds. Split pace, 38 minutes.
Here's something I haven't figured out yet, but you can see these piles of dirt. So at some point, the rancher, before it was subdivided, built up those piles, and you can see my truck there in the background. I'm pretty much back to where I started. But moved that dirt for some reason. And right where the dirt's been moved is another spring, but it doesn't have anywhere to run. So I wonder if maybe he was trying to dig to create a place for water. I don't know. You can see a lot of wildlife footprints though. So I think the animals appreciate this little bit of water. But right behind me is a big dirt pile. Why they cleared it, I don't know. But it's a very obvious pathway here. If I had to guess, with knowing nothing else, is that this is probably the original ranch road. So here we have another little pool of water. This water is trying to run. Well, I guess we'll conclude the tour here. We have reached the bottom of my property, and right behind me is the planned driveway. And right up there is where we started. We walked all the way down there, all the way up there, all the way back to the other edge of the property line, and made it to the truck. And the property kind of follows this slope down to the entrance of the ranch is where my property starts. So if that doesn't tell you how big this property is, I don't know what would. 50-minute walking tour. Ooh, there's a cold wind right here. Cold wind. All right, thanks for joining me. Goodbye.